All right, who's the complainant? All right, get up. Get him up.
Put your leg up.
25 cents. Got one tank.
All right. Put your leg that way so you can stand up.
All right, listen. I'm about to help you. Hold on. Hold on. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3.
All right.
A routine police encounter quickly turned into a disturbing confrontation when a disabled 58-year-old man was thrown face-first onto the pavement by an officer who claimed he feared a weapon. But the body camera footage revealed a very different story, one where questions about excessive force, honesty, and police accountability began to emerge. As the investigation unfolded, another officer's actions became the turning point in the case. While one officer's report raised serious concerns, another officer's decision to remain truthful helped expose what really happened that day. This incident would eventually lead to an officer losing his job and facing criminal charges. So what exactly happened during those tense moments in that parking lot? Was the use of force justified, or was a disabled man unnecessarily harmed while trying to comply? The body camera footage reveals the shocking details behind this controversial police encounter.
Standing in the parking lot outside the townhouse to the ground.
Hey, let me see your hands. Bert, get on the ground. Get on the ground. Get on the ground right here. Get on the ground. You, burgundy shirt, get on the ground. Over here. On the ground. On the ground. Get on the ground. Do you not listen? Get on the ground!
Mr. Gaillard attempts to comply with Officer Dukes' orders by getting onto his hands and knees, but
this is the moment where the tension begins. The officer claims he believed there was a possible weapon, but the situation quickly becomes controversial because Gaillard appears to be trying to comply rather than resist. This raises the central question of the case: was the level of force reasonable under the circumstances?
Officer Dukes forcefully uses his foot to attempt to force Mr. Gaillard all the way to the ground, causing his head to violently hit the pavement. In the 1989 case of Graham versus Connor, the Supreme Court explained that the Fourth Amendment requires a police officer's use of force to be quote-unquote reasonable under the circumstances, and identified 3 factors that courts should consider when determining whether an instance of force was reasonable. These factors include, quote, the severity of the crime at issue, whether the suspect poses an immediate threat to the safety of the officers or others, and whether he is actively resisting arrest or attempting to evade arrest by flight. More recently, in the 2016 case of Armstrong versus Village of Pinehurst, the Fourth Circuit, which includes South Carolina, held that, quote, non-compliance with lawful orders justifies some use of force, but the level of justified force varies based on the risks posed by the resistance. Even purely passive resistance can support the use of some force, but the level of force an individual's resistance will support is dependent on the factual circumstances underlying that resistance. In this situation, the severity of the crime at issue was limited at best, although Officer Dukes claimed to believe that Mr. Gaillard had a gun at the beginning of the interaction. However, at the time Officer Dukes used force against Mr. Gaillard, it was clear that he did not pose an immediate threat, as he had raised both of his empty hands above his head before getting on his hands and knees. Finally, Mr. Gaillard was not resisting arrest in any way. In fact, he was attempting to comply with Officer Dukes' commands when the force was employed. Under these circumstances, it is highly likely that a court would conclude
this is the biggest turning point of the encounter. The physical impact and Gaillard's vulnerable condition make this the most disturbing moment of the video. The key issue becomes whether an officer can use such force against someone who is already attempting to comply.
All right, who's the complainant? All right, get up. Get him up.
Put your leg up.
25 cents. Got one tank.
All right. Put your leg that way so you can stand up.
All right, listen. I'm about to help you. Hold on. Hold on. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3.
All right.
Yep.
Listen.
Yep, they slammed my head
Listen.
down on the cement. Yep.
Go back inside. Go back in the house. Go back in the house. Ain't nobody talking to you.
I got head trauma.
Go back in the house.
Yep. Y'all bust my head down. Yeah, I've been in an accident. Yep. Y'all bust my head down. You threw me down.
I sure did. You wasn't listening.
Yep. No, it ain't. You ain't.
This is the most emotional scene in the entire video. Gaillard's reaction shows the personal impact of the encounter and shifts the focus from police procedure to the human consequences of the force used against him.
that he had a gun and repeatedly told him to drop it. Officer Dukes also alleges that once Mr. Gaillard stepped in front of the vehicle, he had his hands in his pockets and repeatedly ignored requests to show his hands. However, the body cam footage shows that Mr. Gaillard actually had his hands above his head, and that while Officer Dukes repeatedly screamed at Mr. Gaillard to get on the ground, he never asked him to drop a gun or show his hands, likely because Mr. Gaillard's hands were visible throughout the encounter. An incident report filed by Corporal Brandy Smith, who was also on the scene, states that while Mr. Gaillard was walking from the passenger side of the vehicle, he appeared to have his hands in his pockets, but that once he reached the front of the vehicle, he took his hands out of his pockets. Corporal Smith's report also states that
This moment creates a major credibility issue. The difference between the officer's explanation and the recorded footage becomes a critical factor in determining whether his actions were justified or whether he misrepresented what happened.
he reached the front of the vehicle, he took his hands out of his pockets. Corporal Smith's report also states that Officer Dukes was giving loud verbal commands for Mr. Gaillard to get on the ground, but makes no mention of a gun or any commands to drop a gun or show his hands. It's also important to note that when Officer Dukes was reporting what happened, he did not explain the method he used to take Mr. Gaillard down. Corporal Smith's report claimed that when Mr. Gaillard did not get completely on the ground, Officer Dukes pushed him to the ground by placing his right foot on the middle of Mr. Gaillard's back. However, the incident report filed by Sergeant Aquel Polador states that Officer Dukes, quote, jumped up and stomped Mr. Gaillard on the back of his neck with his foot. Although it is unclear from the body camera footage whether Officer Dukes' foot landed on Mr. Gaillard's neck or upper back, it is certain that the version of events Officer Dukes explained to his commanding officer did not align with the body camera footage or the reports filed.
This is a major investigative development because conflicting reports from officers at the scene raise concerns about transparency and accountability. The evidence suggests that the official explanation did not fully match what happened on camera.
Slammed before he down in the cement.
Okay.
He was wrong for that.
In consciousness?
Yeah. Listen.
Can I get a card from you?
I don't have one now. We
Okay,
don't have.
what's your
They
badge
don't
number?
give us cards.
Okay, what's your badge number?
1059.
Let me see if I can get my phone. Hold on.
Hold on, we have cards.
I get daddy.
Okay. Thank you.
When Mr. Julian asks Officer Dukes for a business card, Officer Dukes claims they are not issued cards by their department. However, Sergeant Polador immediately corrects Officer Dukes, states that they do have cards, and provides Mr. Julian with the information he requests.
This moment adds another layer to the case. Even though it is separate from the use of force incident, it contributes to concerns about accountability and whether Officer Dukes was attempting to avoid scrutiny.
Public safety for immediately firing Mr. Dukes and pursuing criminal charges against him. And if there were a lower grade than an F, he certainly deserves that. Sergeant Polador gets an A+ for remaining truthful and objective throughout the encounter, ensuring that Mr. Julian was given the necessary information to follow up on the incident, and for maintaining a calm, collected, and professional attitude throughout the interaction. Although it cannot be proven with any degree of certainty, I suspect that Sergeant Polador was highly involved in the Orangeburg Department's decision to fire and charge Mr. Dukes, and the testimony that she offered in her incident report likely played a vital role in making certain that he was held accountable for his actions. Officers who witness acts of misconduct are often placed in a position where they must consider whether reporting that misconduct is worth the potential damage to their career that could arise from pursuing accountability for the actions of their colleagues. And it is all too common to see members of law enforcement justify the actions of their peers in any way they can to avoid facing the repercussions of speaking out against them. This notion was on full display in this very interaction, when Sergeant Meyer fist-bumped Mr. Dukes for an appropriate use of force, without knowing any of the details beyond what Mr. Dukes had told him. I commend Sergeant Polador for having the courage and conviction to hold Mr. Dukes accountable for his actions, and I sincerely hope that her actions inspire other officers who witness misconduct to come forward and do the same.
This is an important closing point because it highlights the role of accountability within law enforcement itself. The case shows that officers who witness misconduct can play a crucial role in exposing wrongdoing.